I'm Danielle, and today I painted in watercolor. I've got my watercolor card. It's a Strathmore watercolor greeting card. It's 140 pound cold pressed paper, and every now and then I like to send a card, a thinking of you. And it's springtime, so the carrot is really nice. So I'm going to show you how I did it. I'm drawing a carrot, and carrots are theoretically skinny triangles. I do have my inspirational carrot here. So this is a carrot that I did on a block of wood. And this is pretty much where I'll be going with the drawing. I've got this rounded top, triangular shapes, maybe a little squiggly bottom. And we've got our light and our shadow. I'll want to make sure I'm a little darker on one side. And then just a little fun, a little scumbling here and there that we'll talk about later. Okay. I've got my mechanical pencil, also my Princeton round brush this is Princeton's size 8. I have a little bit of larger brush that I may use if I decide to do a background. This is the Princeton round. It's a size 12. So I do like the Princetons. There's a couple of brands that I really like, but those two work for now. I've also got my Prima Marketing watercolor set. This one is the Odyssey set. And we'll be using, I've got the Maui orange, the Inca, this yellowy color, and I think I'm gonna use a little bit of the blue to create a blue background. Blue and orange are complementary colors, so I think maybe a blue wash background might be nice. So for drawing my carrot, I'll start with this. I'm gonna go diagonal on it, something like this. It'll give me a little more space end to end, I think, so I can do a bushy. And when I do my carrot tips, I'm gonna maybe put it over off to the back of the card as well. So I'll start with a little rounded shape there. And think of it as a rounded triangle. Take it down. Something similar to that. And when I actually do the painting, I'll paint down here the little wiggly, like the root structure coming down from there. I think I may even do a little extra line here just so it's looking a little, I always love it. Carrots come out in so many funny shapes and sizes, so I think I may take that in so it's a little more unique. I've got a erase here on the side. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Got my, actually, I've got a clean brush right here. Okay. I'll start with my Princeton round and a little bit of water. We're doing wet on wet, so I'll want to paint. You won't be able to see this really very well since I've got, it's, you know, water on white paper, but that's okay. Just cover the whole thing with water. Wet on wet just means that the paper was wet when you applied paint. And remember, when you're painting wet on wet, that it'll be a little bit lighter. Watercolors tend to dry lighter anyway than the actual paint looks like, but it'll also be a little lighter too because we already have water here, so the value will go down a bit. I'm gonna grab some of that lighter yellowy orange as well and work it into this first pass. So we got, yeah, just so we have some fun colors in there, some different, I like wet on wet. And we've got a couple of white areas that I'm going to leave as theirs. We've always got a little bit of white, the white of the paper kind of coming through. I just added a little bit of extra water there. I like the fun blossoms and shapes that happen. I've got a little bit of this orangey brown that I thought would be fun. It kind of reminds me of a burnt sienna. It's an imagination carrot, right? You can do whatever you want. And we don't have a carrot modeling for a portrait, do we? Kind of like that. Okay. I'm going to grab, I have one of my cloths here, tapping my brush just so we don't have quite so much water. I'm gonna just go in and do some wiggles to blend here and there. I think I want to take the darker orange, mix it with the yellow on my palette, and that's what I'm going to use to do this little extra root at the bottom, just with the tip of my brush. Pull that into view better, and then just a little wiggly down, the little root hairs down there for a moment. Let me grab some of that brown too and take it down into the end of the card. I'll let that dry, and then we'll be doing some tiny line work, the lines on the carrot coming around here after this dries. We'll need to think about our green for our bushy carrot top. Have you ever made, do you need to make pesto with the tops of carrots? When you buy them, I try always to buy them not cut, but the whole carrot. That way you can kind of use the tops in your, when you make pesto. So what I wanted to do was do the carrot line, the little lines coming out of the top. You know, with wet on wet, if the green touches the orange, it may bleed a little bit, but I'm not particularly worried about it on this piece. So I'm just doing a couple of lines here to kind of be the carrot top. I'm actually going to add a little water so the value will be a tad later. It's a very bright green. I'm okay. It isn't, like I said, this is not a carrot modeling a portrait. All right, so I've got the shoot, the actual stems coming out, but then what I wanted to do was do a bit of a wet on wet. So I'm just gonna tap water all over the bushy, where I think this is. And then I'll go back with my green. And I am gonna tweak my green a little bit. I'm gonna add a dash of the yellowy color here, so it's more of a yellow green. And I'm gonna add quite a bit of water so that it's a little lighter. I don't know if I'm gonna get a yellowy green from that. Okay, there we go. Oh, I don't know how much I like that. Hold on. So I'm taking a bit of green and a bit of the yellow. I'm gonna do a test. We'll do a test one to see if we like it. I should have done this before. Oh, that's a little too yellow, so we'll take a dash of the green. Oh, I don't mind that. That's better. It was just a little too bright, if you can see right here. So that way I can kind of put in this into the stem. Ooh. And then, like I said, I kind of did a little scumbling. There's a little water. I don't know, I know you can't see it very well, but we did that. We spread the water everywhere. So now when I add in my little green, it kind of does a wet on wet craziness. And I will grab a dash there. I just went back and got the original green, so we've got 2 different greens in our stem. I should have actually cleaned my water. That's probably part of it too, because I was painting with red earlier, and red and green are complements, so it's gonna dull out, darken, all that. But sometimes you're just going by the seat of your pants, and there's no time for that. Okay, I really dig that. Okay, so we're back, and my carrot card is dry, and you can see I've kind of folded it over to see how cute it looks that it's going off the page. Oh my gosh, I love this. So I've done, it's dry, so now I'm just gonna do a couple of lines just to help with that like roundness look. And carrots have lines on them anyway, sort of like that segmented body kind of thing. So I'm going back into my orange. I think there's a little bit of the orangey brown color in there too. You can see on my sheet. So I've got, this is the Maui, remember this is the Odyssey palette from Prima Marketing, but it's basically a dark orange. And then this one, Cusco, is an orangey brown. And we've been doing this yellow here, it's called Inca on this palette. Earlier we used a little bit of this green, which was way too bright. So I did some crazy mixes, like I added a dash of the Inca, had a dash of the orange just to tone it down a little bit. Also, my water was red from an earlier painting, and red is a complement to green, so that'll dull it out too, and I prefer that. And you can see it looks much better there, not quite so like bright on it. So now I've dumped in, and I've got this darky orangey brown. I'm just gonna do a few lines, just different, and they're kind of rounded, right? Round lines give the appearance of being round, and it's a carrot, so we want that. So I'm gonna take that down any way you want. Go this far, and a little bit more. I'm gonna let's go up here and just do a little bit of shadow underneath on this whole side here. I'm just doing a little extra pass because I'm assuming the light source is up here, is all right here, so that way it'll be a little darker on this side of the carrot, we'll pretend. And just a thinner bit here, little squiggles, and squiggles will take all the way, not quite all the way down, very tip of the brush. Okay, yeah, I like it. Okay, and I'm still having fun with the wet on wet idea, so I just washed off my brush, and I'm gonna go on this side and just put a bit of water here and there and see what happens, just because it's fun to have silly patterns and things like that in your clean water. I'll go on this side, wet it, touch it through, just to mess things up. I don't want a perfect carrot. Okay. Then we gotta work on our top. I want my carrot top, a little more detail in my top, so I'm gonna grab some of that muted green that we used from before. Maybe with a bit of the original green. See how we like that, and just add. It just makes it look more like there's more going on there because we've glazed over, you know. It creates depth because there's something in front of something, right? Looks like bushes. I feel like I'm painting bushes in a landscape. I kind of dig it. Okay. Okay, I like that. Oh, just so cute. Why is painting carrots just the cutest thing ever? Oh my goodness. All right, I want to have I want a little bit more definition in my stem part. So I'm taking the very tip of my brush and I'm just adding some extra line work right there, coming through. Make sure my hand's not blocking it, guys. Right there. Do some extra lines up here. That's getting a little harder because it's wet, so you just gotta do. Okay. I'm gonna add one right here. Okay. Looking good. I love you, carrot. Okay. Now, I think I might switch to my bluer brush. We're gonna kind of experiment and see what we think. The complement to orange is blue. So I just want to do like a swoosh, like this part of the card down here, a very light blue. So let's practice and see what color blue we want to use. I'll grab a little bit of my dirty water and some blue. Just fine, dirty water just means it'll be dull and I want it to be not such a bright color anyway, so that's fine. Ooh, it's almost got a Prussian blue, which I adore Prussian blue. Do our testing here. Oops. That's very light. I like that. Okay, let's see. Does that work? I think so. Blue's complement is orange, and when you add orange to your color, it dulls it. So I just took a dip in. Yeah, you can see. Oh, you can't see. Okay, there we go. This is because I added a dash of orange to this blue pile that I'm creating. It made it a little duller. Yeah, see the difference? This is no orange, a little bit of orange, a lot of bit of orange. And I like the duller look because our green is bright, our orange is bright, so a little duller would be nice. So I'm going to just do that, a wash down here. I'm going to my water. Do a pass down here. It may even go outside here a little bit. Like it's down on this side of the card too. Okay, then I'm washing it all completely off. So I have clean water. Tapping my brush so I'm not drippy. And then I'll go in and just from the carrot do a little bit of mixed to pull it up here. I'm not gonna touch the carrot because it's actually pretty darn, a little bit so wet. And then later on we are gonna get a little, we're gonna go add some of the blue up in here so it looks more like a shadow. Okay, we're back and everything's dry now and you can see this is what it's gonna look like closed with our little blue that we've added down there on this side of the card. We're gonna add a little bit of more of a shadow here. I mean, we may take the blue up into some of these spots. We're just experimenting. So I'm gonna switch to my smaller brush and I'm gonna do a bit of water up in this area where it would be a shadow. So just moving around the carrot, around these leaves, and then I'm going in to get still the dull blue. It'll be the same blue, it'll just be down here, this darker version of it. Pop that in here. Just around the carrot here a little bit. And it'll just get less and less as we go down. Okay, and I don't want this to dry as a harsh line, although sometimes I really don't mind. I'm gonna grab my big brush again. Sometimes I don't mind because they make interesting shapes and patterns, and I don't feel the need to be exact, but we are gonna go ahead and soften it this time. So this is just a barely wet brush. I'm pulling it down because if you get this wet again, then the water allows the paint to travel a bit, and then I'll dissipate it so it's not quite so the hard line. like that. It's a little bit darker right here, which is what I wanted because I'm assuming that this is creating a bit of a shadow, so it's a nice little added bit of depth. Technically, we could also add some of the darker color in between the areas of where our, not too much, I just might add like a little bit right there, you know, just to show that there's, the shadow is back there too, the background is still blue back there. I still want to have white spots, so I'm not interested in overdoing it, but just on this side, the left side of my hand, the left side of the carrot from my perspective. Okay. Okay. All right, we'll let that dry there. Maybe actually we'll get a little bit closer here. All right, I like that. Just softening out edges here and there where I think it may be a little too much. Okay, all right. I still want, I know, the queen of overdoing it, right? No, I just want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm just taking a tad darker, going right into here. And don't you love that blue up against the orange? Like, wow. And that'll be really cool because the first layer is still wet. So the wet on wet fun is gonna happen nicely there. I'm kind of playing now, right? I just cleaned my brush, so I'm going over and pulling things out a bit. It's okay to have the crazy patterns up in here. I really love it, so that's super cool for me. All right, I think I like where I'm going, where that is. I'm really thinking I'm done. It's so easy to overdo it. The only thing I think we may want to do is there's this little bit of pencil that didn't get erased, so I'll go ahead and do that and carefully remove that. Yeah, I think I'm good. Okay, I'm back and it's dry so far, and looking at it, I love the way this works. This goes around the back, but it is, looking at it this way, I really want some of the blue to be up here. Not much, I just don't want the bright white. The cutting in half is bothering me. So I've got my larger brush a little bit. We're just gonna do a wash of that blue color here and there up at the top. Still leaving some white spaces because that's our nice highlight. So this is just a little pass. And I'll take some of that blue, very watered down, and add it in into our green. Actually, I should have the card open because then I won't get paint inside the card. Okay, so that's a little bit added there. I'm washing my brush now, drying it just a tap, and then I'm gonna pull to just pull it down. So, there we go. Now it's just not quite so bright, contrasting the two sides. I like that. I really like what happened here. All the little interesting shapes. All right, I like that better. I think I just need to let it dry now, and then I'll sign it a little bit right there, and it'll be ready for my friend.